Hello everyone. Before we start today's topic, I want to ask you a simple question. Suppose I ask you to write a program that display your name. It is easy, right? Yes. Now imagine I ask you to create WhatsApp or Instagram or any shopping cart like image Amazon, Flipkart, etc. Would you still write everything using simple functions? Probably you will say no. Probably not. And that's exactly why today's topic is important. Today we are going to understand how programming evolved and procedures to objects and why C++ became one of the most powerful programming language in the world. So many students think C++ and C are completely different language. But actually, that's not true. C++ was developed by improving C language. You can think C as a bicycle. Now imagine adding a motor, better brakes, gear, and modern technology to that bicycle. What do you get? Something more powerful? That's exactly what happened with C++. Kept the strength of C and added object-oriented programming. That's why C++ is often called C with classes. And by the end of the lecture, you will clearly understand why developers felt the need for this change. So, come to the evaluation of programming. Let's travel back in the time for a moment. In the early days, programs were very small. A program might calculate salary or print a report or perform a few mathematical operations. Nothing too complicated. So, programmers simply wrote instructions one after another in sequential manner, one after another. Let me explain this by real life example. Imagine your mother gives you instructions. First clean your room, then take bath, then have breakfast, then go to college, and you perform this task in sequence. This is exactly how early programming. Now, grow, growing complexity. What is the meaning of growing complexity? Uh, but technology did not stop there. Previously, we was doing sequential steps we are following for performing any task, but technology did not stop there. Companies started building larger software like application software. Today you are using online shopping cart, etc. So bank needed banking systems, hospital needed management system, universities needed ERP management system. Suddenly, programs contain thousands and then millions of number of lines code. So imagine a university have 30,000 students. Can one teacher manage everything? Admission, attendance, examination, result, placement, etc. No. Similarly, one Gantt collection of function became difficult to manage everything. So C++ emerges, C++ arrives in market. So developers started asking, is there a better way to organize code? and the answer came in the form of C++. Instead of only focusing on functions, C++ introduced a new concept, that is object. What is object? Object is real life entity. Everything existing in this world, you can say that that is object. And rather than doing work only on procedure, rather than breaking our large problem into a smaller parts, that is function, we start working on object. So this completely changed software development. Now, procedural programming, the foundation. Now, before we understand object-oriented programming, we must understand what came before it, and that's what procedural programming. Procedural programming simply means solving a problem a step by step. You can say that that is a sequential execution, one after another. In procedural programming, you divide a big problem into a smaller task. That is also known as module, submodule, or routine. You can say that subroutine. Means each function, suppose you have 10 tasks, you can divide all 10 uh, tasks into different module, different function, right? Each function will perform one task, and if you will merge together all, it will become a software. So procedural programming simply means solving a problem a step by step, as I discussed. You divide a big problem into a smaller task, and each task is handled by a function. So let me relate it by a real life example. I'm going to take an example of college. Let's take a student management system. You might create add a student, second delete a student, third update a student, then display a student. Each task has its own function and sounds organized, right? Yes. And honestly, for a small projects, this approach works really well. In procedural programming, everything follows a path. The program starts, instructions executes, then functions are called, results are displayed. Everything happens in a sequence. You can think it like think about preparing a tea. You don't randomly perform any task. You cannot skip any task, right? You follow a process. First, you are boiling water, then add tea leaves, third, add milk, then add sugar, and again you can serve. So that's why procedural programming follows all a step by step instruction. That's like we following instructions, all steps in real life. Here I have also discussed about function. Function is what? Function is, you can say that function is a small unit of a program. You can say that function is a mini program of your large program, right? Function can perform any particular task. Right? For each and every task, as you can see in this figure, a large project is there, and I divided all the part into a small part, and each function will perform one task, and main function will behave just like a manager, and main function will call each functions one by one. This is sequential flow, top to down, a bottom approach. It can follow. And third is what? Variables, global and local scope. Variables we can use here. That is global as well as local. What is global variable and what is local variables? First, let's understand variable. What is variable? If you have already learned C language, then you may know about variable. Suppose you are going to build any software or you are going to perform any small program. Variable. Without variable, you cannot do it. Computer memory is too much large, right? You want to give any variable, you want to give any value to computer, and computer will perform the task on that variable. How to give the value to computer? So first thing, you have to take any container. That container is nothing, that is variable. You can understand this just like if I will ask to someone, give me water. Obviously, what he or she will say, either give me a bottle or glass. Means if you will provide any container where I can give you. So similarly, if I will take any container, I will give any container to computer where I can give data, and in that container, computer will compute all the things and it will return the value. Global variable as well as local variable. Suppose before main function, after including header full, if you are going to declare any variable, that scope will be what? Global variable, right? If we can use that variable in entire program anywhere it is necessary. And local variable is what? Inside any particular function. Suppose you have function number 1, function number 2, function number 3, function number 4, function number 5. In function number 1, if you have declared x and y two variable, then you can its scope will be only inside this function. You can use this only and only inside this function, right? That is the local variable. But if you have declared any variable at all, obviously you can use it in entire program. Now see, procedural C++ in action. This is a simple hello world program. See, in uh, writing, first when we will start writing a simple hello world program, first we have to write has include IO string. What is this? Right. Oh, sorry. When the computer see this line has include IO string, it means I'm going to say to computer, hey compiler, I need input and output functionality. Why? Because IO stream is what? I for input, O for output, and a stream. Input, output, a stream. Header file. Every classes, object, as well as functions are kept. And I have to use this. Then using namespace std. What is using namespace std? Using namespace is container that contain all the standards of C++. Int main, now main function. What is main function? Main function, you can say that it is just like engine of your program. From here, your compiler will start execution. Compiler will compile your code. If you have not written main function in your program will not execute. So you can think main function as the main gate of a college. Every student enters through this gate. Similarly, every C++ program start execution from main function. Next, we have cout. Its job is simple. Uh, if you are going to write cout means you are going to say to compiler display something on a screen, right? So here If I will give anything in double quotation, it will take as a string and it will print it as it is. Hello world, right? And endl. Endl is what? Then endl comes and it simply moves the cursor to the next line like pressing enter or on your keyboard, right? Otherwise, if you do not want to use endl, yes, you can also use slash n as you was using previously in C language. So one thing came in your mind, what is cout? Cout, is cout a function? Is cout is a keyword? No. Cout is a object of O string class, output string class. Similarly, cin is a object of I string class. Means if you want to take console input, you will use cin, or if you want to use console output, if you want to write something on console as an output, then you will use cout. Next, return 0. Finally, return 0 you have to write. This is the program's way of saying mission completed successfully. Why? Because here before main, I have used what? Int main, right? This is a function prototype, main function, and integer return type. It will return any integer value. But if I have known any value to return, obviously I should return any value. So which value I can return? 0 means nothing. Return 0. Integer value I return. Now tell me in the comment, if I want to build Facebook or WhatsApp, do you think writing thousands of functions would be enough, or do we need a better approach? Think about it, because that's exactly what lead to object oriented programming. So today we learned that programming did not suddenly become object oriented, evolved. We started with procedures. Procedural programming worked well for a small applications, but software became larger. Developers needed a better way to organize code. That's where object entered in the picture. And in the next lecture, we will understand classes and objects with real life examples that are much easier than most textbook. So, see you in next video.